Hey guys, you find me today in a creek, my feet are in the water, and I've been coming out to places like this a lot in the past few months. Because it feels really grounded. I feel really grounded here. And I thought this would be a good place to talk about this with you. So, a bit over a year ago, my partner and I broke up. We were together for 5.5 years. We grew up together. It was a really beautiful relationship. And so it was really a really difficult time in my life to navigate. The heartbreak, the loss, the change. And obviously a breakup is about two people, so I'm not going to open up about it, share anything about it. I have the utmost respect and admiration for him, and I wish him only happiness and success and joy in his life. But today I want to share with you how I navigated the brutal reality of a breakup. And if I'm going to be, I'm going to be completely honest in this video, as I guess I try to always be. But I was hoping that I would be able to go through my life without ever experiencing a breakup, especially the longer that we were together and the more settled I became and how we started really building a future together. The less and less I wanted to ever experience something like that because I just couldn't imagine surviving it, basically. And so when things started to feel not right anymore, I really tried to ignore that. I tried to hold on. I was absolutely terrified. And when we did break up, I was kind of a shell of myself at that point, because I just tried to hold on for so long and do anything that I could to make it work, but obviously that's not making it work, and everything just got worse. But when I was going through those initial phases of the breakup, I turned to places like YouTube, where I was looking for advice, things I didn't already innately know within me as to how I could best navigate it, or how long it would take to get through, or what I could do to help myself. And all the advice out there, there's a lot of it and it's great, but it was all stuff I'd heard before. It was what I kind of already innately knew in myself. It was common sense type things like, time and surrounding yourself with people that love you and support you, doing things for yourself, taking up hobbies and getting out and doing things just for you and things that you love, and becoming more independent and treating yourself with kindness and developing good healthy habits. And all of that is extremely sound advice. It's tried and tested. The reason we keep coming back to those pieces of advice, and that's what loved ones will say to us, because they work, it's true. But I also already knew that within me, and I didn't find that helpful because I was looking for something different. I think advice from people is really good to get, but part of this healing process is to be able to navigate it yourself and figure it out yourself. And so that's what I ended up having to do. And the advice that I want to share with you today are the fundamental pillars of what I found not only got me through the utter heartbreak and loss and messiness of it all, but I'm out the other side a completely better person in every aspect. I'm happier, I'm healthier, I trust myself more, I'm stronger. And I think that comes from navigating a breakup or a big challenge in your life. But to do it in a healthy, not self-destructive way puts you in even better stead. So that's what I'm hoping to share with you today. If you're going through a breakup, if someone you know is going through a breakup, my God, I feel you so deeply. And I hope this advice just feels like I'm tightly gripping your hand, holding on to you, knowing that you're not alone in this and that it really does get better. And I hope that this advice, you'll at least consider it, or you might find it helpful if you decide to give it a go. I have my some notes here just to keep on track with everything. So, the first piece of advice I want to share is the power of exercise. It can be slow, gentle movements like stretching, yoga, going for a walk, but just promise yourself that you are going to do something, and ideally outside, ideally away from a screen. I go through fluctuations in life, but there are times where I find that, putting on like a yoga flow with an instructor on YouTube and feeling their presence with me in my room or somewhere I feel comfortable can be like the best thing, and that's everything that I need. But sometimes that can feel like the easy option, or like I can't really get into the mindset, or I'm distracted and it doesn't feel effortless or at ease. And in those times especially, or if you're a bit unsure as to like, oh, I could go outside or I could stay in, go outside, move outside. We're natural beings, we're supposed to be out in the world, barefoot if possible. But the most important part of this tip is to move your body, get those endorphins going. And there's kind of a running theme with this advice, which is getting out of your head and into your body instead. If you don't feel up to high intensity exercise, that's totally okay. Do, a yoga flow or some stretching or something. But then often when you do start to move a little bit, you feel your body limber up and you kind of almost crave a bit of higher intensity movement. So if you feel that, please lean into it and just do like a couple of push-ups. Or if you're going for a walk, do a bit of a jog or do a bit of a sprint or do some squat jumps. Or like if you see a tree, go and climb the tree. I've been climbing so many trees recently and it is like indescribably joyful. The most important thing is moving every day, ideally outside. And if you can incorporate some higher intensity or some weight bearing exercises with that, that will just help release those endorphins, boost your mood, get you out of your head, into your body. You'll feel so much better. And over time, you'll feel good about yourself and these choices that you're making to go and do this for yourself. And it's a really healthy thing to do. And there are just no downsides to exercising on a daily basis. As I said, these tips that I'm sharing today all have a running theme to them, which is getting out of your mind and into your body instead. And I think that stems from this fundamental pillar that really grounded me and got me through that time, which was swimming. And it wasn't necessarily like one aspect of it, like moving or getting out of the house or seeing people, or the fact that it was something that brought me a lot of joy, or that it was a goal that I was working towards. It was the combination of it all, the routine as well. And so that's kind of where I bring everything back to and where I'm getting these tips from and kind of branching them out. The day that we broke up, I had to go training that afternoon. And it was kind of, I had to go training in the afternoon, and I also wanted to go training in the afternoon because I had to go because I'd made the commitment, you don't skip sessions. But I wanted to go because I needed time and space and to get out of my head. And so, the next morning afterwards, I had to get up at 4:50 and go and jump in the freezing cold pool and push my body to its limit, and day in, day out, I had to keep showing up and not compartmentalizing or hiding away from it or shoving it down, but acknowledging that life goes on and that my life also goes on with or without him. And so swimming was one of my fundamental rocks. And the other was all of the time and effort and work I've put into creating a healthy, sustainable, fun-filled life for myself. Healthy habits, eating well, sleeping okay. Those two things what got me through it. Another thing that I found wildly helpful was spending time with people who had no idea that I was going through a breakup. I chose to keep that information from my training partners and the people that I swam with on a twice a daily basis, my coaches and everything, because I didn't feel ready, at least, to talk about it. But then it became like a sanctuary for me, where I wasn't walking into that space and people kind of giving me that look and being like, oh, how are you going today? And do you need to talk about it? Or like, you look like you've been crying, are you all right? Yeah, just no one knowing that I was really, really hurting. Obviously, you need people in your life that know what's going on, that are there for you, that will ask you, how are you going? How can I help? How are you feeling today? Checking in with you. Those people are absolutely vital as well. But I found that having that space where, swimming, I could focus on just swimming and the sport and the movements and the pain of the physical pain. But then also combining that with just chatting about normal things. What's going on in their life? What's going on in my life that has nothing to do with my relationship, because they have no idea that is in complete shambles. It reminded me that I did have other things going on, that I was a complete, independent, completely rounded person by myself, and it stopped me thinking about it for a little bit. And it also remained this place of laughter and fun and just shared experiences, because when you're going through so much pain and stuff, physical pain, with people who are also going through physical pain, like there's this bond and there's this intimacy there. And so to keep that clean from all the heartbreak and pain that I was experiencing in my personal life was freaking incredible. I would absolutely recommend that. And if that's, maybe that looks like joining some sort of club or sport or activity where, no one knows you, no one knows what you're going through, that becomes your little sanctuary. It was incredible. The third piece of advice that I want to share is acknowledging your different energies, your different masculine and feminine energies, and recognizing when and how you can kind of get into them. Obviously, I can only talk from a female perspective here, but I found that obviously my emotions and feelings and thoughts were fluctuating on a millisecond basis, especially in the beginning. I found that I really craved being in my feminine side a lot more, especially initially, just being soft and sensitive and allowing myself to feel everything as deeply as I was feeling it, reaching out to people and getting support, eating foods that were nourishing and fueling me. I had this deep desire to take care of myself and to look out for myself and to do what was right, or do what was best for me. There's this beautiful feminine nurturing side that came out. So I really tried to honor that and listen to that. But also, I have this masculine energy within me as well. And so to fuel that too, to utilize that when I felt necessary or when I felt called to. So, discipline in my habits, like my training, trying to get enough sleep, choose what my higher self would choose. So my feminine side was being nurturing and loving and caring and soft and intuitive. My masculine side was telling me, okay, but this is the stuff that you also need as well. You need to go out to the shops and get this food. You need to, when you're there, choose these types of things as your base. And then if you need some comforts, you can do that. Let your feminine side take over there a little bit. You might feel the need to put some candles on and listen to soft music and move and stretch and flow and cry. But you need to be in bed by this time because you need to wake up and move your body and see those people and work towards the goals that you have for yourself. So it was acknowledging these vast differences in energies and requirements and feeling the balance, allowing myself to enjoy being in one or the other or the mixture and blend of both. You know, I really allowed myself to be in the fire and the high intensity when I was in the pool or working on passion projects. But I then really allowed myself to be soft and sensitive and in tune with myself and the world around me in that feminine side too when it felt right. And I think some of that can come innately to us, but recognizing it and acknowledging the differences and then I guess trying to feel what you're kind of feeling in the moment and then leaning into it, I found really helpful. And I guess, the final point that I want to make there is that there is this beautiful balance between the masculine and feminine energy within all of us. And when we can not be too much in our feminine, but not too much in our masculine all the time, we'll feel a lot more grounded and well-rounded. So a quick example of that is there were many times where I was hurting and really struggling and just craving lying in bed all day, reading or watching things or listening to sad music and just crying. And so I acknowledged that that's how I was feeling and that's what I wanted. But if I'd done that, it wouldn't have served me, and that masculine side of me was telling me that that's not going to help you. And so I would then choose, okay, well, I would then try to think about what am I trying to seek from that comfort? Okay, is there somewhere else I can get comfort or rest or just letting out my emotions from? And that was often like the better choice for me in those scenarios was I'm going to call a friend. I'm going to go and like just hug someone. Or I'm going to, start by moving my body, have some food, get some energy within me, and then if I still feel like just bursting into tears, like I can allow that, but let's also have a plan for the day. Let's go outside. Yeah. Fuck, it's hard though. But just recognizing that there are always different sides of you, different energies, and they come with their own benefits, but they also obviously come with their own challenges. And so just trying to lean into them when you feel so inclined, but then also letting them balance each other out. Okay, the second last piece of advice that I want to share with you today is to go out and do things. You cannot think your way out of emotions. You can only feel your way through them. Emotions are feelings, and you can't think your way out of feelings. They're not always just thoughts, they're feelings within your body, and talking about them with someone might help, journaling on them, verbalizing them out loud to yourself, or just thinking about them. It all might help you come to some logical conclusions or make sense of things and figure things out in your head a little bit more. And that might help sometimes, but thoughts and feelings are fundamentally different. And sometimes you can use the other to change and impact the other. That makes sense? I'm basically just encouraging you to do more rather than think more, or at least take a little bit of that time that you were going to think and go and do instead. Because emotions are things you feel within yourself, within your body, I found that by going out and utilizing your body, moving and doing things, helps you feel your way through those emotions and therefore move through those emotions. Nothing's ever permanent. We're going to experience highs and lows in our life, but it's really an incredible skill to be able to regulate your emotions yourself, allow yourself to feel them, and figure out ways that you can understand yourself more through your feelings and emotions, and then also go on about the rest of your day, no matter how you're feeling. So I'm not saying here that, oh, you can't cry or be angry in your bedroom lying down. You have to go outside and stand up to cry and be angry. It's just acknowledge the feelings that are there, don't hide from them, but instead of maybe journaling or lying down listening to sad music and wallowing, go out and experience those feelings in a different setting, in a different way. Obviously, these tips are all coming from my own experience and what helped me, but I found that if I woke up feeling sad, anxious, alone, lost, the worst thing that I could do is roll over and stay in bed or grab my journal and just start writing. Sometimes it helps and there's a time and place for it, but it didn't feel good for that to be my default when I was feeling that way. So instead, I would acknowledge that I was feeling all of these things and like struggle through them and wish that I wasn't feeling that way, but just trying to stay present and be okay with the fact that I was. But then go out and get into some semi-comfortable clothes, go out for a slow walk, go out and get some sunlight and do some yoga. Don't just stay in my head and constantly be writing the same phrases and thoughts over and over again, day in, day out, because it takes time. And it's also not a linear journey. So I think as well that if you're constantly finding yourself writing the same things or feeling the same way or waking up the same way, it can be really discouraging because you think you're not making any progress or things don't seem to be getting any easier. But if you can get out and change things up and not journal and do the same thing every day, but go out and do some yoga or a walk or go and see a friend or get up for sunrise somewhere or come out to a creek. We're not trying to run from our heads and our thoughts. We're just trying to experience them in a different way. An example of this is one morning, quite early on, I woke up alone at 4:50 for swimming training, feeling the most alone, anxious, uncertain I ever have in my life. I was bombarded by so many negative thoughts and emotions before I'd even opened my eyes or turned my alarm off. It was like I was just suffocating in these emotions already. And obviously the last thing that I wanted to do was get up and go to swimming training and push my body, or even get out of bed or see anyone. I was shaking, like I didn't want to do anything. But I told myself that if I was still feeling bad at training, I could just go home. I could be kind to myself, but right now I should get up and I should go. My alarm's gone off. With me feeling all of these feelings right now, there's no way in hell that I'm going to be able to go back to sleep, let alone a peaceful, rejuvenative sleep. So I may as well get up and try. So I did, and I was shaking the entire drive. I got there still feeling awful. I started to see people and I didn't want to talk to anyone. I was just wanting to be alone and within myself, but because people didn't know what was going on, they were just like, hey, how's it going? Like, oh, I'm tired, it's cold, I don't really feel like doing this. The normal kind of like 5 a.m. banter at the pool. And while the feelings didn't go away immediately, they lessened. And I was taken out of my microcosmic world and reminded of life outside of myself. And then I jumped in the pool and was immediately bombarded by my emotions again and my thoughts, because again, I was now alone with my feelings. I had nowhere to hide, nowhere to run to. I was just alone with my thoughts, now also getting ready to put my body through some hurt too. But it was about halfway through the session, so about an hour in, when I realized that I was feeling significantly better. Some endorphins were going, my body was feeling warmed up and better and more mobile, and also that I'd been in like a flow state for however long, that my mind had forgotten its other problems and it was just focusing on the mundane, repetitive movements of swimming. And some of those anxieties came back a little bit, and I was worried if I was going to be flooded with emotions and having to deal with everything as soon as I finished my session. But again, I just kind of like let that be. And then before I knew it, I was back into a flow state, not thinking about it until the session was over. And even though nothing in my world had changed, my problems still remained, and there was this underlying feeling of anxiety because, when you're going through something like that, there's always some underlying negative emotions there. And I was kind of feeling the aftermath of the kind of panic attack feeling where you feel anxious and shaky. But compared to how I felt when I woke up, I was in a completely different headspace, and I felt so many positive things. Like I was proud of myself for pushing through and going and doing what I know served future Lauren more with working towards my goals and enjoying my living by my passions. But then also, it really helped current struggling Lauren. It felt like I was really nurturing her in my masculine kind of way. And I just felt so much better because of my endorphins. I'd moved my body, I'd seen people. It was just the best thing that I could have done in that situation. And I thought back to if I had stayed in bed, how I would have been probably feeling now. And I was immensely grateful for the choice that I'd made. And I tried to carry that feeling and logical knowing that when I exercise or when I see people, I feel better into the next time I wake up feeling absolutely shit. So it doesn't have to be crazy exercise, or it doesn't have to be anything crazy. It's just going out and doing something. And the final point that I want to make, the final piece of advice I want to share, it links back to going out and doing things, is to use your body. It doesn't necessarily mean moving your body, but using it. Our bodies are our greatest assets and tools, and they allow us to experience so much of what this world has to offer, and they're capable of so many incredible things. Exercise and movement being one of them, but also utilizing your brain, having deep intellectual conversations with others, fixing problems, thinking through new ideas, internalizing information when you read a book. There's so many little things running through my head, like, giving someone a haircut, doing a puzzle, fixing something in your house that's been broken for a while, cleaning your room, cleaning your car, cleaning your space, organizing things, cooking, tending to plants, tending to animals, volunteering, doing little tasks that, you've been putting off for a while, learning something new like sewing or knitting or going out and climbing trees. Using your body doesn't have to be this strenuous, intense thing. using your body as just coming out here and walking across some rocks, sitting on a rock, feeling the rock. It's basically, again, just not being completely trapped in your own mind. And you're remembering that you are a complete human being, just as you are, capable of so much and worthy of going out and experiencing everything that encompasses that so much. Sometimes all we need is complete rest, where we're just lying down, sleeping or watching something, or lying in the grass or floating in a lake. And that can be really beautiful and healing, and there is absolutely a time and place for it. There's absolutely times and places I did that as well and still do. But I think complete rest isn't always the best thing for us when we're going through something like heartbreak. So those are the pieces of advice that I wanted to share with you today, and were truly the things that got me through what was really, a challenging time. And I'm a human being. There are still ups and downs just generally in my life, and it's never going to be perfect, and I love that. Perfect would be so freaking boring. There's been so much growth and beauty that's come from the past year. Everything happens for a reason, and if I had to go through all of that shit to get to where I am today and how I'm feeling now and being excited about my future, I 100% would not take anything back, would not change anything. And I wish the same for you, and I hope that you can also see it in that way. Because what is meant to be will be, and if that person wasn't right for you for whatever reason, there's something even better out there for you, which I find such a lovely thought, because, as I said, he's an incredible person. And if there's someone even better out there for me, then damn. I hope that you can give yourself the time and grace to heal, to process, to let yourself be soft, but respect and love yourself enough to also be disciplined when you need to be, to lean on others, but to know that you've got this within yourself too. You're strong enough to get through it, and when you do get through it or start to get through it, holy shit, you are so much stronger than you were at the start. And even though I hate the saying, I hate the song, but it's so true that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And now, not only do I know how to navigate these kind of challenges in my future and know how I respond to these things and what I need and how I can kind of figure out what I need, I also know within myself that I have the strength to get through whatever life has to throw at me. It brings me so much comfort and peace, knowing that I can handle it, that I'm strong enough to handle what life throws at me, the good and the not so good, that I'll most likely come out stronger and better because of it, and that it provides, every challenge provides so much growth and opportunity and a widening of perspective. And I see the world so differently now. I'm just so grateful for it, and I hope that you can remain hopeful and positive and excited for whatever the future has in store for you, because this life really is amazing and it's capable of some really amazing things. So I hope that you remain open and kind and loving, and that you have a lovely rest of your day. I'm here for you, I feel you, but you really do have this. You've got it. You can do it. Thank you so much for being with me today. See ya.